Welcome to MMA Fight Weekly. Today we're diving into UFC Fight Night Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates, going down this Saturday, April 26th in Kansas City, Missouri at the T-Mobile Center. It's a stacked main card. We've got rising stars, potential retirement bouts, and we've got finishers across a couple divisions. Let's break it all down, starting at the top with the main event. Headlining the card, it's Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates, fighting at welterweight. Garry, now 15-1, is looking to bounce back from his first professional loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310. That fight was just 4 months ago in December 2024, where he lost a 5-round decision, 48-47 on all the scorecards. It was a close fight, and even right after that loss, Garry thought he was live in the fight and could hang with the best. And he said how he was looking for finishes and he thought he lost by opinion. Here, take a look at this clip.
And I do not feel like I lost today. My hand might not have got raised, but I came out and I fought a giant. I came out and I fought the boogeyman, and I showed that he's fucking human. I went out there on 3 weeks' notice. I saved this event. I saved this card against the scariest man in the division. And I went out there and I stopped almost everything. There was at no point where he looked like he was going to finish the fight. I put him in 2 submissions. I took his back. I had fun. I showed that I can hang with the single best in the division, and I proved tonight, on short notice, that I can absolutely be a champion. And I can do it for 5 rounds, and there's no holes in my game. There was nothing that man brought for me tonight. He won by opinion, and that's okay. That is okay. I can live with that, and I'm very happy with my performance tonight.
Across the cage is Carlos Prates, undefeated in the UFC with a perfect 4-0 record, all wins coming by way of knockout. Prates, who represents Fighting Nerds, along with Caio Baralho, Mauricio Ruffi, and Jean Silva, he's looking to extend their undefeated streak in the UFC to 20-0. But here's the wild card. Prates reportedly fought through a broken foot injury before his win over Neil Magny, where he won by first round KO. That injury only worsened after the fight, and he scheduled a fight literally 7 days from his KO win against Neil Magny, but withdrew from that fight against Randy Brown back in November 2024 due to lingering foot damage. And he didn't take another fight until now, about 5 months later. He had a fight scheduled for the previous UFC 314 card with Jeff Neal, but it got canceled as Neal pulled out, and now on short turnaround, Ian Machado Garry has stepped in to make this fight. Most people know Prates has a controversial habit of smoking cigarettes. He smokes like 8 to 10 cigarettes a day, and he doesn't plan on slowing down for this fight. Here he was talking about it on the Ariel Helwani show.
Obviously, you get a lot of attention about the smoking. Do you take it easy on the smoking before such a big fight?
Yeah, I'm just do what I do all the time, bro. I just come to the gym, training hard, training a lot.
Next up, we've got a light heavyweight showdown and a farewell fight as Anthony Lionheart Smith takes on Zhang Mingyang. Smith is a 24-fight veteran and a former title challenger, and he's declared this will be his last and final walk to the octagon. He's battled through it all, a broken leg at UFC 277, a gnarly eye injury in Singapore, but he's as healthy as can be and ready to close his career on his terms. But unfortunate for him, it looks like the UFC is treating him how they do all of their other favorite company men. They're sacrificing him to a young, dangerous fighter on the rise in Zhang Mingyang. I don't know where, but I feel like I've seen this before. Mountain Tiger Zhang Mingyang enters with knockout power and momentum, riding back-to-back first-round finishes to Brenson Ribeiro and Ozzy Diaz, 2 fairly low-level competitors compared to a veteran as tested as Anthony Smith. There's been no sign of injuries in his camp. This guy's coming in fully loaded and looking to spoil Smith's retirement night. Featherweights collide next as Giga Chikadze makes his return to face David Onama. 36-year-old Chikadze suffered a serious groin injury back in December 2023 that required multiple surgeries to recover. He has since faced Arnold Allen at UFC 304 back in July 2024 and lost via unanimous decision. Pre-fight, Chikadze did not seem bothered by Allen's skill level and was more concerned on Allen sending spies to his camp rather than preparation for the fight. Post-fight, Chikadze revealed he sustained yet another injury and tore his right shoulder at the end of the first round, obviously impairing his performance and resulting in the 29-28 unanimous decision loss. He has expressed confidence in his preparation for his fight this week, stating he's injury-free and ready to compete. On the other side, the younger fighter in David Onama is coming in the octagon off of 2 unanimous decision wins. Onama has been on a winning streak since joining the Factory X gym in Denver, Colorado under coach Mark Montoya back in early 2023. He's expressed enthusiasm in showcasing his evolution as a fighter since joining the new camp. Our next bout takes us to the middleweight division where we've got Michel Pereira taking on Abus Magomedov. Let's start with Michel Pereira. The guy is one of the most unpredictable and exciting fighters in the UFC. Wild flying knees, spinning attacks, backflips, you name it, he's probably done it. In the past 12 months, Pereira has had 4 fights and he's looked sharp in most of them. Back in October 2023, he starched Andre Petroski with a first round TKO. He followed that up with 2 slick submission wins, a rear naked choke at UFC 299 in March against Michel Oleksiejczuk, and a standing guillotine on Ihor Potierin in May at UFC 301. But in October 2024, he took a tough loss to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That was a grueling 5-rounder where he suffered a nasty cut on his eyebrow and eventually lost via TKO in the 5th round. Since then, Pereira's reportedly healed back up and is in full training. He's been putting in work at Overcome Academy, focusing on cleaning up his ground game and maintaining that dangerous, unorthodox style that he has. Facing off against him, we've got Abus Magomedov, a technical striker out of Germany who's had some serious hype behind him when he debuted. It's been a roller coaster 12 months for Abus. He came up short against Caio Borralho in November 2023, losing by decision, but he bounced back strong in May 2024, beating Warley Alves handedly by unanimous decision 30-26 on all scorecards. Then, at UFC 308 in October, he put Bruno Ferreira away in the 3rd round with a submission arm triangle after being tied 19-19 on all scorecards after 2 rounds. Yet this is still arguably his most impressive win of his UFC career. Abus remained relatively injury-free this past year and continues training out of UFD gym in Dusseldorf, Germany. What's interesting is that we've seen a more composed, measured version of him lately. Less blitz heavy, more calculated with his grappling integrated. It's clear that he's evolving with each outing. Up next, we're turning the spotlight to a gritty welterweight clash that's flying under the radar as welterweights Randy Brown and Nicholas Dalby are also throwing down. Let's kick it off with Randy Brown. This guy's resume speaks for itself. Long reach, fluid striking, and experience against some of the division's best, like Jack Della Maddalena and Brian Battle more recently. Back in June 2024 at UFC 302, he was actually stepping in for Nicholas Dalby and earned himself a unanimous decision win over Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. After the fight, Brown said that he broke his foot 70 seconds into the fight after landing a teep kick to the elbow. He has since fought Brian Battle at UFC 310 in December 2024, where he lost a tough fight to a split decision. Now let's talk about Nicholas Dalby, the Danish fighter with a motor that just won't quit. Dalby's been riding high on a 4-fight win streak until UFC Fight Night in June 2024, where he dropped a razor-close split decision loss to Renat Fakhretdinov. But don't forget, in November 2023, he pulled off one of the best wins of his career, a 2nd-round TKO over previously undefeated Gabriel Bonfim. That performance earned him a bonus and sent a message to the division. Earlier this year, Dalby revealed on his Instagram that he was working through an injury. No details on what exactly, but he assured fans that his rehab was going well. He's been grinding through the recovery, rebuilding strength, and ramping up with intensity each week leading up to this fight. Mentally, he says he's in a good place and hungry to make another run. And finally, at the bottom of the main card, starting it all off, we have Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz at middleweight. Let's start with Ikram Aliskerov, the Russian standout with a sambo base and explosive finishing power. Ikram made a huge statement in his first 2 UFC appearances, where in May 2023 he got a first round knockout against Phil Hawes, and in October 2023 another first round finish over Warley Alves. Then came the short notice fight with the former champ Robert Whittaker at UFC Saudi Arabia in June 2024, and that one did not go his way. Whittaker overwhelmed him with pressure and handed Aliskerov his first UFC loss, a first round TKO. But here's the thing, Aliskerov took that fight on just days notice, stepping in after Khamzat Chimaev withdrew. And since then, there's been no reported injuries and locked in for another rebound run. Across from him stands Andre Muniz, a jiu-jitsu black belt with one of the most dangerous ground games in the division. He's had a bit of an up and down run over the past year and a half. In February 2023, he was submitted by Brendan Allen, and in July 2023, he was TKO'd by Paul Craig, a guy known to be a grappler to the point where he will pull guard against just about anybody. But in December 2023, Muniz bounced back with a hard-fought split decision win over Jun Young Park. In May 2024, Muniz fractured his foot in training and had to pull out of a scheduled fight against Aliskerov. He underwent surgery and he was out for months. Then in January 2025, the rematch against Aliskerov was booked for UFC Saudi Arabia, but Muniz was forced out again, this time due to passport issues, and that led to the fight where we saw Aliskerov take on Robert Whittaker. So here we are, finally getting the matchup this weekend. And that wraps up your MMA Fight Weekly preview of UFC Fight Night Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates. This card is full of fire, and we'll be here breaking down all the news come the pre-fight conference and the weigh-ins. Tune back in before the fights for more updates. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your main event prediction. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the fights.